Yeah, that's how they get you. They were suing me for $3,221.27.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, do you have the money?
No.
In April of last year, Stephen Hudgens gets a check. It's in the mail. He looks at the envelope, doesn't recognize the name on the envelope. He thinks, who is this from? It's from a company called Mariner Finance. It's a company most people haven't heard of, but they mass mail checks to people. They're live checks. It's made out to you, but if you sign it, you're on the hook, and it can be for as much as 36% interest to repay that loan.
I just figured that it was like a predator, predator lender, because who just randomly mails people checks in the mail for $1,200? Never seen them, had never talked to them, don't even know if they have a job or not. Just send them a check. And I guess that's where they come in later and take them to court and sue them.
Mariner versus Stephen Hudgens.
Plaintiff.
Mariner versus John Foster.
Plaintiff.
Mariner versus Sonia King.
Plaintiff.
Mariner versus Catherine Burge.
Plaintiff.
It was like a straight 5 minutes, which was what, 20, 30 people probably, that they were suing in one day. Do they do that every day? You know, if they do, somebody needs to look into their practices, because they are predatory lending.
Mariner has access to credit reports, and they find people who have fair credit, people who may have had problems in the past, but they're still capable in Mariner's estimation of paying it back. A lot of times these are people who don't make a lot of money and could use some.
My truck transmission broke down on me. I couldn't get a loan through the bank because my credit score wasn't high enough, but I had this. So out of desperation, I guess I cashed that to get my truck fixed.
Once people cash the check, the costs start rising. Take Hudgens' case. He gets a $1,200 in the mail. He cashes that. They call him back in. They said, would you like to borrow some more money? He takes out another $800. At this time, the interest rate bumps up a few points to 35%. He misses a few payments. By the end, he owes, after processing fees and other charges, he owes $2,684. And then he's sued. He looks at the fine print. He realizes that he has agreed to pay for their attorney's fees if they sue him successfully. So that adds another $536 to what he's going to pay. Consumer installment lending, which is what this field is called, is growing very rapidly, and so is Mariner. Mariner had 57 stores in 2013. It now has 450 stores in 22 states, so it's really expanded very quickly. Where it gets interesting, I think, for people is that this place, Mariner Finance, is owned by a private equity firm based in New York, pretty well-known one called Warburg Pincus. And Warburg Pincus is led by an even more well-known person, Tim Geithner.
Millions of Americans have lost their homes, and millions more live with the risk that they will be unable to meet their payments or refinance their mortgages.
Geithner is the former Treasury Secretary. He was one of the people in the U.S. in charge of the bailout of the banks and led us through the financial crisis. And it was a crisis that he blamed in part on predatory lending.
I want to just emphasize at the beginning that this crisis is partly the result of failures in consumer protection.
Through a spokesman, he declined to answer questions. The company did issue us a statement and said that the company practices responsible lending and their loans are at rates in accordance with all state and federal laws.
Ma'am, do you agree that you owe Mariner Finance $3,164?
We've looked at places in Ohio, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland. You see pretty much the same thing. You see the live checks. You see the people being dragged into court because they haven't paid. A lot of them because they got the live checks and shouldn't have signed them probably.
Why did you want to borrow money?
Because I wanted to get my teeth fixed. No, I didn't.
I talked to about a dozen former Mariner employees, and all but two said that They had misgivings about what they were doing there. These were all people who worked frontline in the stores where Mariner does its business. They all said they had qualms about what they were doing with people, the high interest rates. They had qualms about giving people sums of money that would be very difficult for them to pay back. Meanwhile, the company's still making money off of people like Stephen Hudgens.
It's allowing them to rob people of their financial stability or whatever and do it legally. You think they're helping you out, and what they're doing is they're sinking you further down, and you know, it's like digging a deeper hole instead of throwing some dirt in the hole to help you get out of it. That's kind of the way I look at it.